Shovel Knight is one of the best games ever made.
I just don't think it's as good as anything on the far left column.
Frankly, this game is kind of boring.
You absolute Shovel
Here's a
Knight
chill.
shill.
I'm offended. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Game Club review, this time for Shovel Knight. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friends and co-hosts. Say hello to the people, Connor, Elliott.
Hi, how you doing?
Hello, hello, hello. And say hello to the people, Phil, Shoemaker.
Hello, Tavin out here with the jump scare. Jeez.
Am I jump scaring people?
Well, I mean, you were like, okay, guys, we ready? And then you were like about to start, and then you stopped, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna get delayed, and then you're like, what's poppin', players? Like,
Yeah,
fucking...
it's a thing where it's like, man, I gotta hit play on the B-roll, and then I gotta hit recording, and I know that I'm not on the title screen for that long, so, and I want the title screen to be in the video. It's a whole mess.
Like
over
I
here.
just happened to not be looking. I was looking on OpenCritic, just on another window, and I just wasn't looking at what you were doing, so I wasn't able to like prepare myself.
Sure.
So yeah, I got jump
Here we
scared.
go. You got jump scared, Phil.
What's wrong, Phil? You pee your pants a little pee in your pants right now?
Good.
Kevin,
Let me tell you what, Connor. It's a good thing that cotton absorbs liquid. Tell you what.
Little bit pee-pee. Little bit pee-pee.
Physics.
Shout out Kevin 10 in the chat saying, hey, yo, welcome back, Kevin. This is, of course, the Two Penny Game Club, your monthly video game book club in which me, Connor, Phil, we all play a game chosen by the majestic wheel in the background. And we come back at the beginning of each month and rank and review it for your viewing pleasure. We've done games such as God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 1, excuse me, and Yakuza 0. So we're just hitting a wide variety of games. I named 3 action games, so maybe not that wide variety. We've done other ones. Go check out the full playlist. It's a great
wide net.
We do cast a wide net. This month we are reviewing Shovel Knight. Some quick facts for you. Shovel Knight was released June 26, 2014. It has a Metacritic of 91. And as of September 2019, has sold 2.65 million copies worldwide. And let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, in my very humble opinion, Shovel Knight is one of the best games ever made. This is one of the best platformers ever made. It is so rare where a game nails game feel as well as this. From jumping, not being too floaty, just the right amount of height with every jump. I'm putting myself exactly where I want to be. From the combat and attacks feeling like they have power and meaning behind them. The run speed feels perfect. Just complete control of the Shovel Knight character in its totality. It has amazing level design, phenomenal music, an incredible art style, and awesome boss fights. This is one of my favorite games that I've ever played, and boy, oh boy, I cannot sing the praises of this game enough. I first played this game on the PlayStation Vita, and I loved it back in the day, but on this replay, I realized, oh, I don't just really like this game, I fucking adore this game. It is going to forever become one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's finally, with this last playthrough, become a game that I will never delete off of my PlayStation, just because at any moment I could be like, you know what? It's time to load up some Shovel Knight and just bounce on some heads for a little while. This game is so great. And on top of that, it's got a story that is pretty good. I would argue on the level, if not better, than some of those old school Final Fantasy stories that get praised. So I'm talking Final Fantasy 6 and 7. Like, this game has a story at the level of storytelling about there. Maybe a little less just because it's a platformer and it's more focused on your level things, but I think this story is actually way better, and it has characters that are really well defined. And you just really, there are key moments in this game where you really feel for these characters. I adore this game. I love this game. This is what I would call a masterpiece of a video game. And I'm not a merchandising guy, ladies and gentlemen. I don't buy a lot of merchandise for like video games or TV or anything like that. Maybe I'll get a t-shirt. Maybe if it's like something I really care about, like Star Wars or Spider-Man, I'll get a poster. But I went ahead and I bought myself the little Shovel Knight amiibo. This is my second amiibo that I've ever purchased. The only other one I have is Solid Snake. So
I wonder why.
that is
I've got a few more of those.
that's great fun right there. Is Shovel Knight. Connor,
Damn, that's high praise.
it's
That's very
it's
high praise.
very high praise. Connor, you on this channel are not a platforming guy, so I am very curious to hear your full review of Shovel Knight.
Frankly, this game is kind of boring. No, not really. No, just
Okay.
kidding.
Oh god. Oh god.
Damn.
Ooh,
No,
I was about to kill you.
Flipping the coin
Okay.
over here.
So that is true. I'm not a big fan of platformers, and I can safely say this is among the best platformers I've played. The one that always picks up my mind is The Messenger. I'm a very big fan of this game, and this, I would say, rivals that. I'm not as high. I'm not nowhere as near as high, I will say, as you are, considering this one of the best games of all time. But I'm certainly not going to begrudge you for that, because all the points that you just laid out are true. It has the story, by the way. That was the most important, surprising part to me. I wouldn't say it's on the level of things like Final Fantasy VI. I wouldn't say it's in that same, tier if we were to make a tier list or something like that. But it seriously was like, oh, this actually has, games like this tend to have heart to it, but usually that's because of the style of it, the quirky little bits of dialogue that the game will throw at you. This is no exception to that, but it really did make me care about the mission of Shovel Knight. It really quickly, I learned why this character is so liked. I always thought he was just, the random platformer, and people just liked the style of Shovel Knight because it is unique. It's a nice spin on the knight archetype, just having him wield a shovel and being, still acting like you would, expect a knight to be: honorable, brave, courageous. Those are the same things, but it's just that little spin on him that makes him so likable, just on his design alone. The boss fights are incredibly fun, whereas something like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which is the last platform we played. We did a review of it on this game, on this same game club, but it was nowhere near any of those bosses as fun as each of these were. It was always a point where I was getting up to this boss, and I was like, okay, what's the gimmick going to be? Because it was never too gimmicky. It was one that was just, it just enhanced the already pre-existing gameplay of, classic, platformer. You jump and you can press downwards to, as Tavin's doing with some of these things on the gameplay that's showing, to kill enemies that way, but also just a normal melee attack, and also being able to unlock other abilities through the money that you get, which, similar to this is a bad comparison, to Dark Souls, where you will lose it when you die, but you have the opportunity to gain it back, but you see it right there. It floats, and you have to find it sometimes, which to that end, very often, I would find that you just couldn't recover certain things due to the position of it. And it would try to, minimize that by allowing it to float, and you could use your shovel to get it from a distance. But still, I would encounter the problem very often where I just would get screwed out of my hard-earned money just for, due to how the levels are designed. Which
don't
aside
die.
from that, yeah, right. Just don't die.
Just get good, Connor.
It's able to strike a very good contrast between being difficult, but not being too difficult. It's not one of those games that's well known. It's not going to be one of those games that's well known. At least I'm assuming the reviews didn't touch on the difficulty aspect, because it's not such a defining feature, but it definitely makes it challenging, which for these games with its very simple gameplay, you kind of have to have it be challenging, since that's kind of the fun. Level designs are great. Character designs are great all throughout. The bosses, going back to those especially. The basic enemies, though they are just, classic platformer villains, enemies, you just jump on them. You deal with them pretty simplistically, but they put them at certain parts of the levels to make them a small hurdle to get over. They sometimes surprise you, like Tavin just got surprised there with random enemies popping up when you just unlock certain secret areas that are available. I really liked the overworld with being able to fight mini bosses that would randomly appear upwards, and you just go and encounter them. Those were in some ways more entertaining than the actual boss fights, just because they were neat little things on the map, and I was like, oh, what's this guy's thing gonna be? And very often they were extremely fun to fight, just like the bosses. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this game, and that's not very often said by me when it comes to platformers. So I will look forward to when we play the other games in this franchise. I don't really know when they begin or end, because they kind of have them in a weird package. And A Shovel of Hope is the one that this one's called. Yet back in the day, I think it was just called Shovel Knight. So they kind of had so they just had some rebranding that's now, made it. I don't know how many games this series has, but I'm looking forward to play the rest of them, because it is a fun game.
I believe it's only 4.
Yeah, so there's
4.
Shovel Knight and the collection of it all, which has been rebranded as Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. And then there's Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, and King of Cards. If I remember the conversation correctly, Plague of Shadows was not super well received, but Spectre of Torment and King of Cards was. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
I think Spectre of Torment being the like highlight of that's what I've always heard.
Spectre of Torment, I heard, is the best. I do want to throw out real quickly. I just don't think that this trophy list is that great. It's really difficult, which I can appreciate, but at the same time, it has things like finish the game without dying, finish the game without spending any money, finish the game without falling into a pit. Like some of these like can't destroy every possible checkpoint in the game, which is a mechanic that hasn't been talked about yet. Is that you have the opportunity to like hop on your little checkpoints and break them so that if you die you restart the level, which is cool. But
Tavin casually showing off that he not only got a regular Shovel Knight amiibo, but he got a regular one and a golden one.
What's that? What happened? I don't know
You
what you're
showed
talking
up
about.
another. Shut up, Tavin.
Guys, I bought a golden Shovel Knight because it's cool.
That is a different amiibo that you showed.
I don't know what
You
you're
showed
talking
the
about.
original.
Guys, I have
Wii
two
U.
amiibo. I have Solid Snake and Shovel Knight. That's what I have.
So, okay, you have two
Do I?
of Shovel Knight, and you also
saw
happen
it.
to have Solid Snake.
Tavin, we're not colorblind. Show it to us.
I don't know, guys. It's right here. Like
Just
I
get them
don't
both
know.
on screen.
It's Shovel
another one.
Knight, guys. It's
Just
just
get them
another
both
one.
on the screen.
There's
the
your
gold is way better.
They can. By the way,
honestly, I disagree. The regular blue is better.
yeah.
Opinions are opinions. And Phil, I want to hear more of your opinions, sir. What is your review of Shovel Knight?
Well, Tavin, rather than asking what my opinions of the game, why don't you go ahead and ask me if I actually played the game?
Oh, god damn it, you son of a bitch. So, ladies and gentlemen, Phil took his sweet ass time to get around to Shovel Knight because he didn't have any major games to play this last month. So he's just been sitting around playing Sea of Stars all the way up to the point to where last night I texted him and said, hey man, have you played Shovel Knight? And he said, nope. And I was like, all right, well, you kind of got to get to work on that, my man, because we're reviewing it tomorrow, being today. So, Phil,
Yeah.
have you played Shovel Knight?
Well, Tavin, when you texted me last night and I was at work closing, by the way, I had not even opened the game.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
So then I was like, I wonder if it'll be worth it if I actually play the game, or if maybe it'll be funnier if I don't, and I just kind of talk about it. Either way, so flash forward, I come home probably close to like 2 a.m.
Wow.
Go to sleep, wake up around 7:30, and I load up my PS5 and I play some Shovel Knight.
There you go.
And 5.5 hours later, I rolled credits, and I beat the game. Hey, this game, pretty damn good. I had a really good
baby!
time. This I had a pretty good time. Like y'all mentioning the difficulty, there were some moments that were like, I would just, the thing where you're playing a game and you get impatient because you keep doing the same stupid thing over again, but then you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that thing, but then you do a different stupid thing. It's exactly what happened to me. I also learned that I learned on the basically penultimate stage of the game that you can cancel the ground pound thing in midair.
Yeah.
Because I would continuously die, and I was like, oh, am I missing a special component? Like a special, the gear thing that you can throw out. Because there was a pit with little spikes, because those are instant death underneath them. And I just found out because I just like, oh, I wonder if I can cancel it. And I hit the attack button in midair after being ground pounding. And I was like, oh, cool. I was just wasting a ton of my gold and a ton of time on this one bit. Anyway, no, this game is fantastic. I never played this game before. I had seen several playthroughs. I watched the Game Grumps playthrough. I think it was around the time that Plague of Shadows came out, because that's when they released the amiibo, I believe. I want to say that's true.
It would have to be much later because
Really?
yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if it came to Wii U. It might have come to Wii U, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was later. But I
Right,
could
well,
be wrong.
People being wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I had a great time with this game. I thought a lot of the praise was very much very 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 true. It holds up. Stands the test of time. This game.
Mhm.
I thought a lot of the I thought a lot of the power-ups were really interesting and helped you tackle things in different ways. My favorite one being the horn that you can activate in the clear. There's like a horn.
Oh,
that you get, and it, clear,
area of effects, like kind of almost a
and it basically
screen wipe.
clears. It's basically a screen wipe. Yeah. Very, very useful, especially in certain boss fights where you can't like hit them because you can't reach them. So I would just jump and I would activate the horn and be like, "Hi, I fucking got you, motherfucker."
Yeah.
I think highlight as far as boss fights go, my favorite was the Tinker Knight. I thought he was really fun.
Really?
Mainly because I thought it was like, oh, this is just a joke fight where I can just hammer in on him, and then all of a sudden he's in a giant mech, and I thought that was really cute, and I thought that was really fun. Probably least favorite boss would be the Propeller Knight, because fuck that guy, holy shit. And also least favorite enemy, the goddamn green propeller thing.
Oh, I
that
fucking
would, like,
hate those
shove
things.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You know. Sorry, I know Tavin doesn't like when I get in like nitty gritty when it comes to like playing through levels and stuff when I'm supposed to be doing a review. But this motherfucker, I hated him. I damn near my wonderful Spider-Man PS5 controller
Sexy.
almost met the ground because I was very angry. Then I realized, hey, stupid, you can just use your screen wipe ability and get him before he shoves you off. To which I used all of it.
What happened?
Showing
Hello?
yet another
he's
Shovel Knight amiibo.
What are you talking about?
Only now it's Plague Knight.
What are you talking about? This is the same. I'm just
So
playing with the same amiibo this whole
He
time.
bought some kind of pack. I wonder how many more he's going to show throughout this video.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. I've had the same amiibo in my hand the whole time.
The third amiibo he's showing.
Guys,
so
it's
now
the same. It's the
now
same
revealed
amiibo. I have two amiibo.
That he has the blue Shovel Knight amiibo, the gold Shovel Knight amiibo, and the Plague Knight amiibo.
No, I've
never
only
seen
got.
it just lying.
I've only got the one. Guys, it's just the Shovel Knight amiibo.
And
I've got two amiibo.
He's back to the
There's
better looking blue one.
Shovel
right
Knight, and then there's Solid Snake. Those are the only two amiibo I have, guys.
So anyway, back to my review. You shill. You absolute Shovel
You're
Knight
the shill.
shill. I'm supposed to be the shill on this show, Tavin. I'm supposed to be the guy that talks about, oh, hey, Pokemon, Sonic, I love that shit. I'm that guy. Kingdom Hearts, I love it. Kingdom Hearts is right behind me. See? They're all right there.
It is. There will be art behind me one day.
One day.
I wonder if you can see it. I've got it. There it all is.
Ah,
There's all my art.
Not even hung up.
But no, I think
Whatever, Connor. You don't even have your clothes here yet.
I have my skill. Well, I don't have my skills yet.
Long-winded rant aside, I did thoroughly enjoy my playthrough of Shovel Knight, however short it was. I, however, am unlike Tavin, in which as soon as I finished this game, I immediately deleted it off my console.
Insanity.
As much as I enjoyed it, I want to kind of preserve that, and I don't want to do this whole checklist of trophies for this one. At least not until Tavin gets it.
Oh, I don't know if I'll ever platinum the game, but I'll always just get an itch to play the game. So maybe one day I'll just like kind of slowly check my way through it. But yeah, it is not on my agenda right now to platinum this game. Not at all.
How I feel about me and Tavin's lists is I don't care about platinuming a game unless Tavin has something that I don't.
What a hater! That's some hater ass.
That is.
And I have several that he doesn't have.
Mindset. Yeah. Listen, man, I've got the ones I want right now, or at least I'm working towards the ones I want. That's all that matters, you know? I don't care what's on your list at all. The only one where I'm like, ooh, I wish I had that one was the Hades one. That's the only one where
Hades
I'm like, I do wish I had that one.
Soon to have another one that you'll be jealous of. One trophy away from a Sea of Stars Platinum.
I would also like that one. When I beat it on Switch, I might buy it on PlayStation and work my way through it on that one eventually, slowly. But you know, Sea of Stars, another one that I'm into, but it's not the most like crazy thing. Gentlemen, I want to have a quick conversation about some of our favorite bosses
about amiibos
of the game. No, not of the amiibos. So, I think the big two highlights for me are Black Knight, because I love a boss fight that mirrors your abilities, and you have to start thinking.
That's always nice.
You have to start thinking about how would you attack yourself, and I love the progression of the Black Knight fights as you continue through the game and how they get progressively more and more difficult. It's super easy the first time, second time's kind of tough, third time is really really hard. I love fights like that. You get a sort of a rivalry thing going on, but I think just off of design and boss design. I'm looking through it right now, and I think my favorite is Spectre Knight.
Spectre Knight's really good.
I think Spectre Knight is the one
was a
because
very good one.
he's sort of middle-ish in the game, maybe like first.
He's the third one.
Yeah, so he's like in that first third to halfway through the game, and that's when the game is like, okay, you know how to play now, so now it's time to amp up the difficulty. Phil, remind me what you were into. You said
Tinker Knight.
Tinker Knight. Yeah, was that the only one you
mainly
said?
because that's the only one that I said that I liked. I did really enjoy Spectre Knight. That's probably up there for me as well. I mainly only like Tinker Knight because I thought it was supposed to be a joke fight, and then it turns out it wasn't. It was like that was just the preliminary.
The second phase is
Right.
cool. I found the Tinker Knight just too easy, which is weird because he's so late game. But I spanked that little boy.
Oh, yeah, easy.
In terms of other ones that I really enjoyed, I liked the Treasure Knight, the one under the water.
Treasure Knight. That's not Treasure Knight. That's what, like Mole Knight or something, or
No, underwater, not underground.
okay. Oh, okay. Yes, I remember now. Yeah. Okay.
I like Mole Knight too, but
Yeah, Mole Knight was cool.
Mole Knight might have one of my favorite designs.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, I think. Yeah, for sure.
In terms of actual like design of like the enemy and how they look, Spectre Knight's king.
I agree entirely. I mean, like if you just look at your screen right here, like the Spectre Knight is just what?
So he's got
What a nerd.
It
What are you
goes
talking
to
about?
show that this man bought the pack, which I assume comes with the blue Shovel Knight, gold Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and possibly King Knight. Who knows?
I don't know what you're talking about, guys. I have 2 amiibo. I have Solid Snake, and then this.
You've
this
shown
one,
4 different Shovel Knight amiibos so far in this podcast.
I have Solid Snake and 1 Shovel Knight amiibo, which you can see on screen right now. He's sexy, man. Look at Spectre Knight, man. He's sexy.
You never do bits like this. Now all of a sudden you're doing like the longest one that has ever been done on this show, consistently in a single episode.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what you're talking
I have two amiibo. There we go.
You
Connor.
know, at this point, I'm not even convinced that he has a Solid Snake amiibo.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I have it. I've shown it on camera before. I have it. It's at my mom's house right now. I haven't moved it over yet, but I have it. I promise I have it. There we go. I can show you next week. I can show you my 2 amiibo right next to each other next week. Connor, what is your
More like
what were some boss highlights for you, man?
I think universally everyone liked Spectre Knight. Very
Spectre
cool,
Knight.
as you guys said. Same thing with you, Tavin. The Black Knight was very cool. I especially liked the power-up version of him later on. It's a nice way to kind of test your abilities after you fight him that first time. And those being said, though, I think my favorite, and probably one of my favorite designed one, was Polar Knight. I very much enjoyed him, which is funny because usually I don't like those ice levels because it has the ice blocks and you slide on them, and you have to watch out for that. And like I said, usually I don't like it, but in this case, I don't know. Something about the boss fight really worked, especially how he destroyed them and left spikes up, which could kill you right away. And so that was, it had that insta-kill ability pretty much always there throughout the entire mission. Kind of similar to Propeller Knight, which I believe you could fall off the map with him.
I did not like the Polar Knight fight.
Yeah.
Really?
Propeller Knight Polar Knight. You don't like it?
I think I
did not like that fight.
all of them. I didn't like Baz.
Baz? Who's Baz?
Baz was one of the side fights.
I didn't beat Baz.
Oh,
I fought him twice, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna continue on because this isn't main story."
Oh no,
Is
I
he
beat,
like the
I beat
fast one?
everybody. Baz was like the big boy. Yeah, let me see.
He was honestly extremely hard. I beat him though.
Sort of this guy.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
that guy.
This guy was
Personally
tough. This guy was tough.
Let me just say, Tav, the reason I got up just now is because I had to look at how many amiibos I have. You have more amiibos than I do.
What? Do you only have 1? You've shown multiple. You have like 2 or 3 Zeldas,
4.
don't you?
I have 4 amiibos, and you just demonstrated that you have at least 5.
Phil, I don't know what you're talking about. I have 2 amiibos right here. I have the
6.
Solid Snake
There's the 6th
amiibo,
one right there.
and I have 1 Shovel Knight
Called
amiibo.
it. He got the pack that has the 2 different Shovel Knight ones, the fucking Plague Knight, the Spectre Knight and fucking King Knight.
I went a little
This
crazy.
piece
Guys.
of shit.
I went a little crazy.
Was it a package that you bought, or did you buy them individually?
The gold and blue Shovel Knights were individual. The 3 boss knights, being Plague, King, and Spectre, were in a pack.
So you admit that you have 6 amiibos.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was about $150 worth of amiibos.
Jesus Christ!
Gavin, let me.
I went a little crazy. I should not have done this. I should not have. I'll say it. I should not have bought all of these amiibo. Right?
Do you know how much $150 is, Tavin?
It's exactly $150.
And what can you do with $150? What
Probably go to
Buy
McDonald's
amiibos.
15 times, Connor.
Buy 5 amiibos.
You could buy like a super nice, high quality figure that's super detailed. Not to say these aren't bad, but you just couldn't help yourself.
These are pretty high quality, man.
Oh, they're high quality. They're good, but I'm
They're
talking
good.
like special, like super specialty, like high quality. When I think figures,
I mean, for like 150, Connor, you may remember. Phil, you may remember. I have a Commander Shepard figure that's on my bookcase. It's still back at my mom's. That's 150, and it's the Garrus one I think was like 70 something, and the Garrus one is better
by far.
Yeah, so like price doesn't always mean quality.
No,
but you get bang for your buck.
Yeah.
How'd you guys like the magic system? I know you touched on the big horn, the clear away horn, which I never really used myself. I stuck to the fireball. Oh, you thought it was okay? I thought you said you used it quite a bit.
No, I mean I know it was good. I think overall I preferred just regular attacks. I really only used the horn and the fireball when I couldn't reach an enemy. And there was a couple times I used the fishing pole to fish up a treasure bag that I dropped. But that's
you can do it with that. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's so cool. I didn't know that. I would have saved so much more money at the end. I was broke as a joke by the end of the game, man, because I just kept dying.
Me too, dude.
In ways that I couldn't get my money back.
My final count was like 120 gold.
Did I send my stats to the group chat or anything, or did I save it? I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. Connor, to answer your question, the magic system I think is good. It's fine. It's just that the items and abilities that you acquire, I don't think all of them are super useful. There's a small handful that I like. We've mentioned the horn. You mentioned the fireball. I liked the green bouncy one a lot. That one did a lot of damage to a lot of foes. That was probably my most used
one. The Chaos Spheres? Is that what that is?
I think so. The little green ball that bounces off the ground and bounces off walls.
That one,
and enemies and
I
stuff.
didn't get that one. I think that's the Chaos Sphere.
Yeah, that one. That one was really good.
I think the only other one that I actually got was the fists.
The fists. The fists I never really used outside.
They were really good for getting through environments. Yeah,
they were very good for that.
Yeah. So and same with the spinner wheel or a bunch of other things they want you to use some of them in combat, but I found them more of a hindrance than anything. And but the way the magic system works, keeping sort of your magic number kind of low, you can upgrade it to get more and stuff, but you can't be shooting off a crazy number of fireballs. You can't beat a boss with just your magic abilities. It's just not going to happen. So the main focus still being on your use of your shovel, I think, is just great game design.
Yeah.
And it works so well. And you can beat this game without using your magic. And I think that and it's still just as fun and engaging. And I think that's a sign of great game feel and great game design.
Yeah. By the way, Tavin,
Chaos Sphere. I'm looking at it right now.
You doing that little mini game? I had no clue that was there at all. So I was like,
really? No, I did that once.
I also did it once. You saw my one time that I did it, and then I moved the fuck on, and I was like, all right, get me out of here. I really enjoyed the story of this, guys. I thought it was really, really good, really heartfelt. The moments where you go into your dreams and you have to battle off enemies and catch Shield Knight, you feel it, man. You feel that connection and that bond between the two characters, even though there's so little screen time between them. You really do. And then by the time you get to the end of the game and you realize that, oh shit, Shield Knight has been possessed and turned into Enchantress and all that, you're like, oh shit, man, it kind of goes there. For how rudimentary storytelling it is, it's effective. And I really, really enjoyed it.
I especially liked the very end, because it did make me, I breathed a sigh of relief at the end of it all, which I think with how, as you said, little writing, traditional writing, how much text on the screen there is for the story, especially between those two characters, it really did a lot for you to carry them. by the end of the day. And Black Knight as well. And I honestly wish there was more of a kind of a it delved more into who Black Knight is, because obviously he has some sort of connection to him, relationship. They've met before, and it keeps it very vague, but just made me want to know more. Which
But
is very good
there's subtext there too, where you're like,
Yes.
you can kind of infer what all of these relationships are. It's not just like a line of dialogue. Shovel Knight, I am your greatest ally or your greatest foe and enemy. Like it's like, oh, this is a dude that like maybe they've had some interactions in the past, and Shield Knight is kind of in between them, and maybe they were friends at one point, and then they've kind of just because of how time works and life works, they've just landed on opposite sides of a conflict or something. Like there's some depth to it, which is really appreciated.
Yeah, I read it as though Black Knight loved Shield Knight, but clearly him and Shovel Knight were together, and he was just no, he was. Oh, are you kidding me? He was a brave soldier. He helped at the end. He did what he had to do.
Of course, Connor would take the side of the
brave
incel. No, I really liked it. Also, music's banging. Not as good as say a Sea of Stars, but music is banging. Did like the music a lot. Gentlemen, I think that's it for Shovel Knight.
Yeah, it's a short game.
I think we said
short game, short review.
It's a great time. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get to some of the fun stuff of this show. As of right now, I have the rankings of every game we've played on the Game Club up on the screen right now. For those listening on podcast services, the list is this. Number 16, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Number 15, Prey. Number 14, Arkham Asylum. Number 13, Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Number 12, Halo Combat Evolved. Number 11, Shadow of the Colossus. Number 10, Resident Evil 4. Number 9, Portal. Number 8, Resident Evil. Number 7, Chrono Trigger. Number 6, Dishonored. Number 5, Portal 2. Number 4, Yakuza 0. Number 3, Hades. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 1, God of War Ragnarok. Gentlemen, right before we started recording, we all pulled up our lists to make sure we knew exactly where we wanted to put it. But we all shared a sentiment of we're not exactly sure where this game is going to land. And looking at this list right now, it's going to rank very, very high for me.
See, for that end, can you go last? Because I think I want that, like, I want the final thing to temper where this is going to land is
I'll start the bidding.
High vote.
I'll start the bidding, Philip.
I am ranking Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove, Shovel of Hope.
Shovel Knight. Oh yeah.
Shovel Hope, I think, is a mobile game.
No, that's Shovel Knight Dig.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't know what Shovel Hope is.
Stupid. Buy all the amiibos you want. It's not going to fix your brain. I'm going to put this at number 10.
Number 10.
That's above Resident Evil 4, but below Portal 1.
Yes.
What is the reasoning for this, Phil?
I can be convinced to put it at 9. Maybe even 8.
Those are not the answers to the questions I just asked.
I just don't think it's as good as anything on the far left column.
Wow.
And I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't think it stands up to any of those.
And you're gonna put it below Portal and below why below Resident Evil? Because you weren't a huge fan of that game.
That's what I'm saying. I'm probably wrong. I'll say 8.
8 above Resident Evil, but below Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Nuts. Okay. All right. Wow. Connor, where are you at here?
Well, that's very funny because originally when I was looking at this list, I was like, okay, it's below Resident Evil, new number 9. But because you see, Resident Evil, you were actually pretty hot on Tavin. You would put it higher. Yeah. And I'm still satisfied with the position on the list, most definitely. But it's something that's kind of elevated in my mind the more time has passed. I look at that game and I think just very fondly of that one. And even if there's any of the pitfalls it had, they kind of just don't ring in my head when I think of Resident Evil. Despite that, though,
to be clear, real quick, I don't hate where Resident Evil is right now. I would have it higher, but not much higher. I think I'd have it 2 spots higher above Dishonored, below Portal 2.
Above Dishonored, okay.
For Resident Evil, yeah.
Surprising over Dishonored.
I do think Dishonored is too high, but
Well, I think Yakuza 0 is too high, and I think Prey is too high.
I only think Ragnarok's too high at this point. which is kind of weird. But as we often do when we talk about it, it brings up those feelings and emotions of Shovel Knight, of whatever game it is we're talking about. Shovel Knight this week, and over the course of the talk, I think I'm right where Phil decided to land, or I guess where he just tentatively decided to land, and put it at the new number 8, above Resident Evil.
Honestly, I'd be comfortable putting it anywhere between 7 and 10.
Yeah,
I'm offended.
Oh, Tavin, when you said this is one of the best games you've ever played, I was like, oh, he's gonna be upset at this one.
I'm offended. Like, this is very upsetting to me. Okay, well, my vote doesn't really matter at this point because I guess you guys have agreed it's going above Resident Evil. I would put this game, to me, it's just a debate of whether it goes above or below Hades.
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
Yeah, and
That usually makes sense.
I think, God, when I rolled credits, I was like, it goes below Hades. But as I'm talking about it, I could see an argument for above. But I think I'm going to go with my gut here. And if I like just sit down and think about both games and the amount of time you can spend and how quality Hades is, I think I would put this at number 4 above Yakuza 0, but below Hades. This is... Yeah, okay. We have now, this is the placement where I'm like, this is the most like egregious placement in this list. That game is way too low.
Tavin, I know me and Connor are in agreement, but I think I have the most like tentative placement because I said anywhere between 7 and 10. So me personally, because Dishonored is so high, I would put this at number 6.
See, and that's where I thought it was gonna go. Is because as much as I love Dishonored and I'm a Dishonored fan, I have the Platinum Trophy for that game. I just think this game design rings so true, and you can play this gameplay loop way longer than you can play a Dishonored loop.
Dishonored,
the gameplay will never get boring. Like it's...
No, I thought Dishonored has been too high for a while.
No, I'm comfortable with where Dishonored is.
No.
Yeah, because I think like Dishonored still has really good level design and solid gameplay loop, but I just think when things kick off in Dishonored and it tries to be a little more actiony, it really falls short. I think this game has I think Shovel Knight has a better story than Dishonored does. So like if it were like the only thing that I'm fighting for really hard here is that, like, man, this game deserves to be at least above Dishonored. I understand below Portal 2. I think this game is clearly better than Yakuza 0, but I was outvoted then, and I'll be outvoted now. But yeah, if Phil, if I could convince you to push up to above Dishonored, I'm doing it, my friend.
Yeah, I'm perfectly. I'm comfortable with this being at 6.
All right. Well, wishy-washy Phil here needs to make a choice because
I just said like it's better than Dishonored in my eyes.
That I will say, this is the third change.
No. Look. This is what I'm saying. I've always said that I'm not comfortable putting anything above Chrono Trigger. If I'm not like entirely certain that it's better because I haven't played Chrono Trigger. So
it's the black sheep of this list.
Yeah.
Time to go get to work, Phil. I think this game is definitively better than Chrono Trigger.
So that's where I think the gap becomes very large. I think Resident Evil and Shovel Knight very close, but then when you get to Chrono Trigger and Dishonored and Portal 2, there's a wide gap due to the fact that, you know, once again, I'm not the platformer guy. There's only so much enjoyment I can get out of a platformer, despite as good as Shovel Knight is.
See, and I think Chrono Trigger overstays its welcome. Like that game is several hours way too long, and I don't think its story carries enough water to justify the runtime either. And don't get me wrong, I still think Chrono Trigger is a great game, but as time has gone on, its greatness has dwindled a little bit. Like I've played other JRPGs or other turn-based RPGs that do way more with way less. And I think, you know, it's a completely different genre, but I think Shovel Knight is another example of just doing way more with way less. Like, Shovel Knight's story is head and shoulders above Chrono Trigger. Its gameplay loop never gets old. Music, I'd probably lean Chrono Trigger, but presentation, I'd lean Shovel Knight. I think Chrono Trigger's art style is a little muddy. Like, it's just not as well defined.
Tavin, you just had a bunch of Dragon Ball fans materialize behind you. Look behind you.
the instant transmission.
I mean, not like characters designs are cool in Chrono Trigger, but like world designs, like I understand it's kind of the point, but when you hop from different areas of time, like you're essentially playing other games. And I think that's a problem. Like it's cool if they look different, but you should still feel like you're playing the same game. And I don't think you do in Chrono Trigger.
I think when you do time travel, that idea gets thrown out the window because setting is no longer restricted by, whatever you get introduced in when you first start that game.
Yes, but style should unify it all. And I don't think style unifies it.
I think it does. I think the style is pretty defined. Like when I think Chrono Trigger, the images pop into my mind to say, yes, that is Chrono Trigger, definitively. That even sets it apart from other JRPGs.
Okay.
So anyway, all this to say, like, you call me wishy-washy, but I'd say like 40% of the time when we do these, we convince each other to move our placements either down or up.
Yeah.
So I'm totally
my
with
real
this
I think
sitting
it's
at number 6.
I think it might just be the verbiage you use where you're just like, oh, I think it's fine if it sits there. I want to vote. Where are you voting? Where, like, if you're checking a box on a ballot, where is that going?
Okay, I'll say Tavin convinced me that that I'll put it at 6.
There we go. Connor, any other statements?
No,
I'm going to make sure everybody has their chance to say their piece.
Oh, I'm stalwart on my spot. Okay. I definitely don't think it for all of the cool things that it does do. I think, particularly the story, I think isn't as good as you say it is, especially comparing it to Final Fantasy VI, which is like egregious in my mind. Like I think if you compare it to Final Fantasies 1 through 3, that makes sense. But once you get into the more depth of 4, 5, and 6, it does way more than Shovel Knight ever does.
See, and to be fair, you've played Final Fantasy VI. I haven't, so that is an unfair comparison that I'm making. But I've played Final Fantasy VII and I've played Chrono Trigger. I assume it lands somewhere around that area of quality, just based off of how people talk about. And I think Shovel Knight has a better story than both Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VII.
Damn.
As much as I love the characters more in Final Fantasy VII, but its story is not awesome, in my opinion.
That's my thing. Is to me, this game isn't a story-based game.
It's not. In the fact that the story punches that hard still, it like gives it bonus points for me.
If you think so.
All right.
More power to you.
So Connor votes for number 8, below Chrono Trigger, above Resident Evil, correct?
Yes.
I vote for number 4, above Yakuza 0, below Hades, and Phil is going above Dishonored, below Portal 2 at number 6.
Which is directly middle of the road.
That puts the vote at number 17, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, number 16, Prey, number 14, Batman Arkham Asylum, number 15, Batman, number 14, Uncharted Drake's Fortune, number 13, Halo Combat Evolved, number 12, Shadow of the Colossus, number 11, Resident Evil 4, number 10, Portal, number 9, Resident Evil, number 8, Chrono Trigger, number 7, Dishonored, number 6, Shovel Knight, 5, Portal 2, 4, Yakuza, 3, Hades, 2, The Last of Us, and number 1, God of War Ragnarok. When, oh when, will that top 3 be cracked once again? Who knows? Who knows?
It's going to be kind of hard because, as I said, I wouldn't put God of War Ragnarok as high as it is now that time has passed.
Connor, where does God of War Ragnarok land these days for you?
Definitely.
Because to me, you can argue Last of Us and Hades above God of War if you want, but I don't think you can argue anything below that. But maybe Portal 2, but like I think
I was gonna say, where do you like God of War Ragnarok more than Yakuza 0?
No, I definitively would put it at number 5. I put it above Portal 2.
That's fucking insane to me, man.
Yeah. I think any of the good things that it does have no impact to them now that time has passed. Like, it has less impact than many other stories do.
Like, me personally, I still like Ragnarok being at number 1, but I could see a world where this is like the new number 3, and you just move Last of Us and Hades up.
Yeah, that's where I see. I don't understand. If you want to talk storytelling, I think Ragnarok is in a different league than Yakuza. Yakuza is just like a fun, entertaining video game story with like twists and turns, but it's not a good story. Like, it's not well told.
Well, at that point, when comparing like Yakuza 0 to God of War Ragnarok, I would agree with you there. But then we're talking about complete package and gameplay. I think Ragnarok is the most thing that's stale about it. I'm not going to say, that God of War Ragnarok story is bad or subpar or anything like that. Nowhere near it. It's an incredibly well done story, well told story. But ultimately, Yakuza 0 I think has more interesting gameplay. Ragnarok's kind of, like I said, stale in terms of that in that regard. There's a lot more, the side quests in Yakuza 0 are leagues above God of War Ragnarok's, which
I disagree with everything you're saying.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Don't get me wrong. I think the God of War, that whole 2018 style of gameplay, I do think it does get stale, but I think it carries longer than Yakuza's. Because Yakuza is the same, mash the same button combo again and again and again and again, and see the same animations again and again and again. And you can switch styles, and you can do this, that, and the third, but I played probably 60 to 70% in one fighting style.
You see, I felt I feel the exact same with God of War Ragnarok. The difference, in my opinion, of the combat is I feel Yakuza 0 just comes across not only more satisfying, but has cool factor that God of War Ragnarok just doesn't do. Like in God of War Ragnarok, when you do your more special moves, they're just kind of lame when I look back on it and unimpressive.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Yeah,
I don't think the gap, the quality level of God of War Ragnarok and Yakuza 0 is close. It's not large. It's not like it's so much better. I just think it's definably better in my eyes. I'm from how the list is right now. If you guys would want to move down God of War Ragnarok behind Hades, I'd be for that. But at the same time, I'm kind of
we're not moving anything. The list lies where it does, and we can't change it after, because then that destroys the sanctity of the list.
Yeah, which is where I'm.
We gotta have integrity here.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Once we say that's the ultimately, like, when we say this is going to list right here, changing it just seems weird.
I mean, today with this list right now, I would still vote Ragnarok number 1.
Mm-hmm. Phil, I'm curious what Phil would say, because I see him thinking about it.
Me personally, I mean, having not finished The Last of Us, I would probably only switch Hades and Last of Us.
Ah, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
You have not played it all the way.
So, I don't know.
Here we go. Yeah. Moving on to the picker wheel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we explained last month, and I'll reiterate it here. October is a busy, busy month. October 2023, that is a busy, busy month for video game releases. And we are 3 guys doing this in our spare time, which is dwindling more and more by the year.
Every day,
yeah. So we don't have time to play an extra game in the month of October. So we are delaying this next episode a full month. So the first week of December, you will get whatever we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever we get, you're not getting that review until the first week of December, essentially, because we just need more time to play. So with that said, let's go ahead and do our vetoes. You are allowed, before we spin the list, to veto out a game that is in the list. Batman Arkham Asylum is still in here, and it needs to be City. Get the fuck out of here, Asylum. There we go.
Tavin, let me say, when I was toying with the idea of not playing Shovel Knight, I was like, I could just be like, I'll just sacrifice my veto for, like, I don't know, 3 weeks. We'll do that. Like, that'll be my punishment for that, or something like that.
Guys, play the game. Just play the game, do the review. Do your work.
I did.
Here we go. Because we can delay episodes if it's, like, understandable, like, oh, hey, like, I just didn't have time and couldn't get this game is 6 hours long, so you should have been able to play Shovel Knight within a month. But if it was vetoed last month, it needs to remain in the list this month. So this month, Half-Life 1 needs to stay in the list. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic needs to stay in the list, and Final Fantasy VII needs to stay in the list. From there, we can take any and everything out. I'm going to go ahead and right now take out, I just saw it, where did it go? I'm going to put my veto in for Spider-Man 2018. I'm going to...
What, Tavin?
Because I got to play Spider-Man 2 next month, and I don't want to play Spider-Man games back-to-back, especially one that I've already played so many times.
I know what I want. If you're still thinking, Phil,
go ahead.
I'm still thinking.
I'm gonna put a hard hold on platformers, and to that degree, out of all the ones that's most similar to Shovel Knight, I'm gonna go with Celeste. Is that one that's close to your heart, Tavin?
Oh man, I mean, I've never beaten Celeste, but it's
one that's been on my list that I've wanted to play for a long time.
It's another phenomenal one. Celeste is
like,
hard.
and this would be the perfect, like, excuse to play it too.
Yeah. Oh, Celeste is so good.
Actually, you know
See,
what?
for
Let me change
me-
it. Let me change it.
Oh, he's changing it.
Yeah, because I have like if it's hard and I might want to take like this next month, I'm not gonna be playing many new games, so I can space it out. This kind of game, so it might
Yeah.
be one of the better ones to do. Let me look again.
Looking
Tavin,
again.
I can't help but notice that Sonic Adventure has a little,
I don't know what you're
little
talking about.
parentheses there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Phil, have you seen my Spectre Knight amiibo? It's my second amiibo that I've ever earned.
Oh, dude, that's such a cool amiibo.
It's a really cool amiibo, dude. I really like it. Phil, where are you at? What are you thinking this month?
See, I'm wanting us. I'm craving like a more modern game.
Oh, I'm gonna put the asterisks on there. You will get a November episode if Metal Gear Solid is drawn. Because we've got the Masters Collection coming out on the 24th.
Sure.
And you could beat that game in 2 sittings.
I mean, you can look on our hype playlist for MGS1. My first playthrough, we played that in all one sitting.
We did. It was like 11 hours long. It was because Phil was really struggling with some of those boss fights.
Fucking fuck Ocelot, dude.
That wasn't even the one. It was fucking Gray Fox that kicked your ass.
Gray Fox got me too. No, I was more just thinking of like having how he reflects the bullets off and stuff. But no, I'm craving like a modern game
Okay.
personally. So I'm gonna take out. I saw Castlevania Symphony of the Night. As much as I'm sure it's a great game, I'm not craving that kind of like. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not trying to play a super dated game, you know.
Got you.
And that's just the first one that I saw that
Man,
made me
Destroy All
think of it.
Humans is in this list, huh?
Man, not even fun.
I was gonna say you're the one that put that in there. Too, Kevin.
I did indeed. All right, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Connor, what's standing out to you, my man?
Let's go with Axiom Verge. Sticking with that, I'm
Axiom
not really
Verge.
wanting to play
Axiom Verge.
platformers, and so I'm just like, yeah, I'll keep with that line of
Is
thinking.
Axiom Verge a platformer?
It's a Metroidvania, but it's
That's exactly what I thought it was.
Yeah, but it's
Similar enough.
it's understandable. It's understandable his perspective on that. Axiom Verge, a great game.
It's right there, Tim.
Does not.
Down.
Where did I miss it? I missed it.
Yeah.
Does not what? You're
there,
past
up,
it.
up. Yeah.
It
Sorry, I
does
missed
not
this time.
hurt. There it is. It does not hurt me like taking out Celeste hurts me. So, gentlemen, it's time. Let's spin this bad boy wheel and see what we've got going
God,
to play.
the tension here is fucking
Palpable.
palatable.
It'd be funny if Celeste.
Palpable is the word.
Palpable.
All right,
Yes,
let's see,
there we
guys.
go.
Let's see. Oh, nice.
Tomb Raider, the
Okay.
2013 reboot.
Not
Fun
bad.
times. Not bad at all.
I'll tell you
Go
right
ahead,
now,
Edwin.
probably gonna rank higher than Uncharted.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely will rank higher than Uncharted right now. So that is one that is going to take up too much time. So we are going to boot that to December to give us some time for that. So it's going to be a while before we get around to that. But it'll be a fun time when we do eventually get around to that. Connor, to emphasize or put emphasis on your question that you asked that got swallowed by the talking. Who has played Tomb Raider 2013 before? We've all played it before. Awesome. It's been a while since we've played a game that all of us have played before. I think Hades
Yeah.
might have been the last one.
One of the first PS4 games.
Let me take a look at the list real quick.
No, Connor, it was a PlayStation 3 game.
But I was not like it was one of the games I played on the PS4.
Ooh, this would be a
okay.
perfect opportunity for me to play it not on Xbox.
There you go. Phil, you can't get the platinum in it.
Why not?
Can't I?
Multiplayer trophies.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Bad, so sad.
I played it at launch, and multiplayer was not popular, so I never got it. So yeah,
Oh
yeah. That's a
You're
no-go.
more broken up than I thought.
That's
no.
those
Fuck
servers.
the-
Those
Fuck
servers
the
might be dead.
2010s.
Those servers might
Fuck
be
the
dead.
2010s.
Those might be dead servers. Anyways, yeah, that one's always hurt me that I've never been able to get that one because I tried and I once I saw that like the multiplayer one just wasn't gonna happen, I just gave up. Like, so I don't even have all the single player ones, but I was just like, what's the point?
That was like a knife in my side right there, dude.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Two Penny Game Club Shovel Knight at almost 54 minutes by the time I finish this outro. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Let us know how you felt about the review, where you personally would put Shovel Knight, and how you feel about Tomb Raider. Make sure you play along with us throughout the next couple of months and join us for the conversation in December. Until next time, have a great time. And gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.